We've spent over 10 years on air, shaping a generation of action motorsports, and now we're changing the game again. The best motorsports, the best action sports, and the best of pop culture with some epic guests thrown in. I am Jim Beaver, and this is the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. Hold on tight, the misadventure is just getting started. Welcome to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. Been cranking out some bangers here. I appreciate everybody that's gone over, subscribed to our YouTube channel. We've got the video portions of our show that are being put up over there with guests and interviews and things like this. This is today's episode is going to be podcast specific. No video component to this. It will be an audio file over on YouTube though. But switching gears today, got Jungle Grrrl, legendary professional wrestler. She's been around for a long time. Got an amazing story. Had a lot of stuff in her personal life that she's battled through, and I'm really, really excited to share this interview with you all because, one, she's a legend, and two, this is just a damn good interview. So Jungle Grrrl, my guest this week on the show, if you've been tuning in the past couple weeks, had some really banger guests. Had my buddy Ruslan Grease Hands. He was one of my guests last week, as well as Anna Glennon. She goes by Jet Girl on social media. The video version of those are also up on my YouTube channel. But, been cranking out some bangers here. I've got a lot of stuff going on, man. I got my new KRX build, Electra, that's getting wired currently. Have an amazing new race car that we're going to debut at the California 300. Got a lot of projects in the works. It has been firing on all cylinders for me. The podcast is doing great. Thank you guys who've all subscribed over there on Apple Podcasts. I got my new beer that I've been able to try. We got the can art ready. That's going to be launching with Belching Beaver soon. So, man, we got a lot of stuff cranking here, and stoked to be able to share it with you guys on the show. Hopefully you're liking this new format. Instead of the 2-hour format we used to, we're doing about an hour a week, sometimes a little shorter, or an hour an episode, but we're doing multiple episodes, 2 to 3 every single week. Sometimes some Supercross specials in the mix as well. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this new format. Let me know. Give me some feedback at Jim Beaver 15 on social media. Love to hear from you guys. And once again, go and subscribe on Apple Podcasts as well as YouTube because we've got a lot of content dropping there as well. And so I don't know. Before we do cut to this commercial break, I do want to mention right now our partner General Tire. They got a banger of a deal going on. If you go to the footnotes of the show, whether you're podcast, my website, jimbeaver15.com, or YouTube, click the link for General Tire. They got their spring savings going on right now through the end of the month. Yeah, this is April, so if you're tuning in after the fact, you may have missed out. Click that link, and you can save up to $70 on a qualifying set of General Tires. So that link will tell you how to do it. And, banger savings on General Tire, the best damn tires on the planet, according to me. So, and a lot of other people as well. But click that link, get in on the savings now through the end of April or the end of this month, and you can save up to $70 on a qualifying set of General Tire. And with that, we're going to take a short commercial break. We'll be back with this, with Jungle Grrrl after this, right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. Making the most of every moment can be demanding, which is why at General Tire, we think you should demand more from your tires. For more than a century, we've made great all-around tires that always deliver the right combination of performance, durability, style, and value. Whether you're looking at the ultra-high-performance summer tires for your street rod or the best-in-class all-weather tire for your family crossover, General Tire delivers for those who demand more from their tires. Find your fit at GeneralTire.com. General Tire, the official tire of the Jim Beaver Show.
Conditions off the pavement are always changing, so why settle for a light bar that just turns on and off? The Rigid Adapt is a revolutionary new light bar that will automatically select from 8 beam patterns that range from a widespread 90-degree flood to a 15-degree spot based on your vehicle's speed. Try that with your knockoff light bar. A dash-mounted controller allows the user to toggle between adaptive mode, beam patterns, and RGBW accent lighting. With Adapt, it's easier than ever to own the night.
When looking for a new wheel for your off-road vehicle, car, truck, or UTV, the choice is easy. You choose what the pros use. Rob McCachran, Keegan Kincaid, and myself, Jim Beaver, all exclusively use Vision Wheel, whether we're dominating Baja, taking the cup at Crandon, or shredding UTVs. Vision Wheel's trend-setting designs and durability will set you apart from the competition and your friends. Check out visionwheel.com or at Vision Wheel on social media to learn more. Like what you're hearing? Do us a favor and head over to Apple Podcasts and rate, review, and subscribe to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki and never miss another show. Welcome back to the General Tire Jim Beaver Show, here with a special guest joining me on the show this week. You know that I am a big pro wrestling fan. We got Jungle Grrrl joining me here on the show. What is going on?
What's happening?
Well, it is
good to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. It's good to have you on the show. I mean, I've kind of loosely followed your career for quite a while, being a pro wrestling fan since the time I was a kid and things like that. And I mean, you've had one hell of a career, lots of ups and downs, but we got a lot to talk about today.
Sure do. More ups than downs, though.
That's always a good thing, right? It's always good to have more ups than downs.
That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, I guess my lead question is going to be, you've been around the wrestling industry for a long time. I mean, and as a female wrestler, you've seen a lot of changes in pro wrestling, especially on the female side of things. I mean, kind of take us through what do you think of the state of women's wrestling now? Because it's vastly, vastly different than when you started.
Oh, incredibly. And I think part of the issue when I started, and that was back in 2000, is that really the women weren't taken seriously. And the unfortunate part is the organizations and the promotions just really weren't giving women the platform and allowing them to perform and to be the athletes that they are. And fortunately, there have been companies, WOW really, I believe, in 2000 was the catalyst for all of it to happen. So a lot of people will talk about the WWE and the revolution that happened, but that did not happen without WOW happening first in 2000. Yeah. And it really gave women a platform to not only to really be the center of the storytelling and the athleticism, but really to give us a platform that we could be the true athletes that we are. And it was an opportunity for the world to see women's wrestling in a different way. We weren't managers. We weren't, a side piece. We weren't something just to look at. Now, granted, all great to look at, but it was more than that. It was the stories. It was the backstories. It was the athleticism. And so WOW was really the first all-female promotion that was televised nationally.
Well, and I think, and one of the things I love, about your story, and we got a lot with your story to kind of unravel here, but, you did leave WOW for a time. And I think one thing that you can always tell about an organization is when somebody goes out and they try something else and then they come back. And obviously you being with WOW again, I mean, I feel like it's like a full circle, like a coming home almost, It's
definitely a full circle. And that's where you also see how vastly different the wrestling market is as far as for women. When I went off and I was on the independent circuit, I would be lucky to have another female to wrestle in another promotion. I mean, many times I was wrestling men in an organization and going around the country and traveling with the likes of people like The Miz and some of the greatest in the independent circuit. And there weren't a lot of females. And now it's unbelievable. Every single place you go, whether you're going into Baltimore or, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or Los Angeles or Phoenix, wherever you are, there's a huge, huge female wrestling contingency. So there are women to work, and they are talented women.
Well, and let's talk about that, because, I mean, when you got into wrestling, there was women's wrestling, but not on the scale we see today. I mean, give us your backstory on what the draw was to wrestling. And I know, kind of your character comes from some of your upbringing and your background and things like that, but kind of take us through your life and how you got to pro wrestling and what drew you to it.
I grew up a fan. I just really, really enjoyed it, watching it in the mid '80s. I mean, I'm a kid that was born in 1974, so that lets you know where I was at. But I really just enjoyed the storytelling. I enjoyed every part of what wrestling was, and for me, it gave me an opportunity to just kind of lose myself in that moment and to really just enjoy the storytelling and to enjoy the athleticism. And so I was a fan first and foremost. And I grew up I was a dancer and I was a gymnast and I was incredibly athletic. And it was really by chance that I stumbled into WOW. I had friends that were telling me about tryouts that they were having, but they didn't really disclose what it was all about. They said it's a athletic women's show. And so they didn't really clarify what it was. And I think for the most part, they didn't do it because it was in LA, was the tryout. And I think they feared the type of people that they would have come out and try out for a wrestling promotion.
Yeah.
So I think most people thought oil wrestling, mud wrestling, that kind of thing. And so they didn't want to grab, that kind of person to come in to try out for WOW. So I'd gone in. When I had gone to the tryout is when I met David McLean, and he, had this whole video of what he was creating. And this was the initial, like back in 2000, when, it has evolved even from what it was then to what it is now. And I was just like, this is incredible. I get to do what? Now, of course, when he gave me the call and he's like, hey, we'd like you to be part of the promotion. Are you interested? I'm like, am I interested? Are you crazy? Of course I'm interested. And so they really took it. So Selena Majors and David McLean, from that moment when we started training at the LA Forum, they just kind of gauged what our personality was and how we moved. And from there, they took our backstory, and then based on how we moved and the kind of character that we kind of developed into was how we came up with Jungle Grrrl, my family is from Colombia, South America. And so they just kind of intertwined everything into who Jungle Grrrl was and who she still is today.
Yeah. Well, and, obviously, now you've got, you talked about, kind of your family and your, growing up where your family was from and things like that. But now, you've got your entire family, your wife, your mom, how is it being able to wrestle, have your kids, watch you and see what you're doing in the ring? That's got to be pretty satisfying.
It's amazing. I will say that probably one of my greatest moments ever. I was wrestling Lana Starr for the championship belt. And when the emotion that it was incredible. The tears were real. The emotion was real. And then they called my son and patched him in, and he was up on the screen, and he was maybe 3 or 4 at the time. And so he's in this chair and he's kicking his legs up and he's like, you finally did it, Mom. You finally won the golden belt. And just that moment, David held my hand up. I had the belt on with my kid on the screen, was probably the greatest moment that I've had ever. It brought everything full circle. It made it so real. It was so powerful. And for me, it was such an emotional moment. And there have been some great moments since, but that is by far the greatest moment that I've had.
And I think that's one thing that I absolutely love about professional wrestling is that it does blur lines. Between, reality and what's happening in the ring and things like that, at times, things are character driven, but people get so attached to Jungle Grrrl. You go home and you're not Jungle Grrrl, but in the ring, you're Jungle Grrrl. And I just,
or am I?
Or are you? Well, but no, I just absolutely love that though, that people, get so attached to the person in the ring, you know what I mean? And even your kids, like it is emotional, and there's so many people, and I know as we get into your story that you're touching in so many other ways. And I think that's what's great. You have this platform that you can really relate to people.
It is. And I think that what's so powerful about it is that you are going to relate more to some people than to others, and the stories. And I think that's part of what David has done so brilliantly and has done so well with Selena Majors, is that they really have taken aspects of each of the individuals and really kind of allowed that to bleed into what the story really is. And so when you, especially with the Pluto TV backstory, like The Road to Wow, you see so much of that right now. You know, it's there are not a lot of promotions that really do it so eloquently and that just, you know, that merge those two aspects of the individual themselves and who they are in that squared circle. It's really a beautiful thing. And it's so enjoyable to watch because I've gotten to know all of the women over the years, and then to watch it, you know, week after week, and to watch those backstories really is, it really is all of that. And it's fantastic.
Well, I got to ask, you know, you talked about the great moment of winning the belt, and I got to say, how does it sit with you actually losing the belt without ever being pinned? And I feel like there's this ... there where I feel like, you know what I mean? There's still unfinished business.
Oh, there is still unfinished business. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. It's one of those things, you know, if you follow the story throughout the years and you see kind of like the change of Jungle Grrrl from going from, I think, winning the belt and winning it with my son created this kind of softness. Jungle Grrrl had always been kind of, you know, you didn't want to hate her and you didn't want to love her, but I think in that moment it just created a softness and made that character far more relatable and far more, I think, softer. And so, but then week after week, I'm competing, and I am competing for, you know, the belt was stripped in that three-way, and, you know, it's devastating to lose in that way when you know that you have the ability to beat somebody, to beat those individuals that are in the ring. And so week after week, when it's just like, something's happening and it's, you know, it's unfair, and you can see the change, just like getting angry, and just the turn happens, and it's like, you know, I start hitting people with chairs, and I'm like, hey, listen, if this is going to be an unfair world, then I'm going to make it equally as unfair. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to rise and match it with a little bit of turmoil and aggression.
Yeah. Well,
so very much unfinished business.
Definitely. Well, and, you know, I kind of want to, you know, I want to circle back on that, but I know, you know, as all this is going on, obviously, you know, I kind of want to talk about, you know, pandemic hit, and, you know, obviously we had 2020, and you got some, you know, some life-changing news. And I know it's something I'm actually glad we can talk about it, because it's something that's really affected my family, with multiple people in my family and things like that. And I love your story and how, you know, how you didn't let it get you down. But let's talk about, you know, kind of the summer of 2020 and, you know, you finding out that you had stage 4 breast cancer.
Yeah. So I'd gone to the doctor, and, you know, that's never something that you want to hear. So when, you know, you hear a stage 4 diagnosis, and you hear that, you know, it's treatable, but it's not curable, and that, you know, this is going to be your life for however long that life is. You'll be in treatment for the rest of your life. And what I realized in that moment, and so, you know, people often ask, were you angry? Were you, you know, sad? Were you all of these, you know, what were the emotions that were going through your mind? And for me, the most difficult thing was, at the time, my son was 11 years old. How do I have a conversation with my son? Yeah. And how do I tell him, being honest, but also being you know, just really keeping my mindset at the forefront, and really having him understand that, you know, we're all terminal, right? Yeah. No, not a single person knows when their day is. So when you receive a diagnosis, I think it makes things a little bit clearer that, okay, my timeline might be a little bit shorter than I had expected, but bottom line is, you still have the ability to create the life that you want and to lead the life in a very powerful way. And so in that diagnosis, what I realized is, you know, the medical community is amazing, but what they do is they treat the disease. And often the individual is overlooked. And so, you know, it's about the treatments, and everything is being done to you. And what I wanted was, what can I do for myself? And I've owned a gym for the last 10 years called Endorphasm. And what I realized is how powerful movement is. Not only did I recognize that as being a professional wrestler, but being in the fitness industry, what I realized is movement is powerful. And every human body was designed to move. And when we stop moving, we die. And so I wanted to channel that energy and how powerful movement is, and the fact that it changes who we are as people, but it also empowers us and it changes our mindset. And so I created the Endorphasm Foundation really to empower individuals to move through cancer. So what we do is we go in and we educate oncology clinicians all across the U.S. to really basically to encourage their patients to move through cancer. And then we connect them with programs. I run programs here, and we do that all free of charge through the Endorphasm Foundation. But so when people ask me about a cancer diagnosis, I think I'm not angry, I'm not mad, I'm not sad. I think, who better for it to have happened to than me, who has the ability to rise above, to have a mindset that is powerful, and to recognize that I still have life in me and that I still control the narrative. And the fact that I'm a cancer patient is at the back of that narrative. I am so many things before I'm a cancer patient. And so I want people to live that way.
Yeah, well, and I think that's such a awesome way of looking at it, because I know far too many people who have got diagnoses and they immediately, it's like, things are over, and they go into their house and, they become depressed, and, they stop moving, literally and figuratively. They just go into a dark hole, and it's like, and then they're never able to kind of bounce back from that. And I think, that's
true.
And it's just really unfortunate. So I love, your philosophy on it. That you just keep moving forward, and it's, yes, I've got cancer, but it's just a very small part of my life. There's
Right.
still a whole lot
Right.
more there.
Absolutely. And I think, that the mind is a powerful thing. And I think it allows us either to persevere and to rise above. And you see the mindset, people's mindset. I see it in the ring. I see it with people, with athletes. I see it with people in life. And you have an opportunity. It's that victim mentality, right? So you have a decision to make with life, that you are either going to persevere and you're going to push through, or you're not. And that is a choice that we decide to make. And I think that for me, movement is that kind of catalyst that creates a different mindset for me. And it makes me realize, when I have the ability to push myself physically, that I have the ability to push myself emotionally and mentally. And so for me, that's always been what I've gravitated towards. And it's been kind of my church and my sanctuary, and what's guided me in all of my difficult times, not just particularly with a cancer diagnosis, but everything, losses in the ring, losses in life. It's allowed me to push beyond.
So, obviously, we're a few years down the road now, and obviously you're continuing to fight. You're continuing to do amazing things. What does 2023 look like for Jungle Grrrl?
Oh, well, David McLean is the only one that holds the secret with that as far as what's to come next. But obviously I have unfinished business. Jungle Grrrl would love to get back in the ring and settle some things.
I am sure that is definitely to come. And obviously you've got a gym, you've got your foundation. You are definitely a busy woman.
I am definitely a busy woman, but one of those things, something that stays in motion. What is that saying? If it stays in motion, it continues. I forget how it goes, but that's kind of how I feel with life. So I like to stay busy. I like to stay busy. I like to stay challenged. I like to just keep going. So I'd like to get back in that ring and really show people that at 49 years old, and even with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis, that all things are possible.
I think that would be amazing. I'm looking forward to it. I know you stay in great shape, just from social media and things like that, obviously with your gym. So I think it'd be one hell of a story. And like I said, I think there's a lot of gas left in your tank.
There you go. See, you can put it out there into the universe.
we will do our best. The world
wants to see it. The world wants to see it.
Yeah, we'll start one of those online petitions. Oh, this would be awesome. But I appreciate you taking the time. It's been definitely fun hearing your story and catching up. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Jim, very much. I appreciate it.
When it's time to replace the tires on your vehicle, General Tire delivers the tires you need for both your next big adventure and your daily commute. Whether you need all-season traction, lasting treadwear, or a quiet drive, General Tires are designed to deliver whatever life brings your way. From all-season ultra-high-performance tires for passenger cars and crossovers to extreme all-season mud terrain and tires for light trucks and SUVs, General Tire delivers great performance. To find your ideal tire, visit GeneralTire.com. General Tire, official tire of The Jim Beaver Show. Looking to have some fun on four wheels? Dirtfish Rally School has you covered. Packing as much adrenaline and adventure as you can handle into high-performance all-wheel drive and rear-wheel drive Subaru rally cars is where the fun begins at Dirtfish. Just 30 minutes outside of Seattle in Snoqualmie, you'll get a chance to train up to 3 full days with some of the country's best instructors and be put through the high-octane rush of rally on mud, dirt, and tarmac. Get started today and call 425-888-7715 or visit us online at dirtfish.com and use code 911 for a 15% discount. Don't just shred your way through any off-road rugged terrain. Get into gear with GSP XTV and let us redefine your adventure. The GSP advantage of quality and performance sets a standard for UTV axles. We strive to provide premium ATV and UTV axles to keep you shreddy ready. Kick up some dirt and get in the driver's seat with GSP XTV. With over 35 years of experience, drive with a company you can trust. Drive with GSP. For more information, please visit us at gspxtv.com today. Social media? Yeah, that's on lock. It's at Jim Beaver 15 on all major platforms, and hit up at General Tire and at Kawasaki USA while you're there. And, well, that's about it this week on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. But did want to thank Jungle Grrrl and my friends at Women of Wrestling for putting that interview together. Always fun to have pro wrestlers on, and they've got a great thing going on. Check them out, Pluto TV. But, man, even their YouTube channel got some really cool backstory, stuff like that airing. Lots of good stuff coming out of Women of Wrestling. Definitely, if you're a pro wrestling fan, you should be tuning in and watching this stuff. Also had Candy Crush on about a month and a half ago here on the show. Fun interview there. So definitely go back in the archives, listen to that one. Once again, at Jim Beaver 15 on social. Got YouTube, podcast, subscribe, keeping it cranking. Don't forget General Tire now through the end of April. Sorry if you're tuning in after the fact. But they've got up to $70 off a qualifying set of General Tire. Just go to the footnotes of the show, click the link. It'll take you over to their site, tell you how to get $70 back on a qualifying set of General Tires now through the end of April. Big thanks to all our partners, Kawasaki, good friends at Rigid Industries, Vision Wheel, GSP XTV Axles, iRacing, Clean Freak. Man, we got some amazing partners here, and we just, thankful. What are we? Almost 13 years in business now, and continue to crank out podcasts, and all because of you guys. So we've got some really cool stuff. I think 3 or 4 more shows this week we're going to be dropping, so you definitely don't want to miss those. And once again, thank you guys who have supported our new program over there on YouTube as well. Really cool to have the support continue over there on the video side of things. So I don't know. That's about it. That's all I got for this week. So we're going to sign off here, and we'll see you next time right here on the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. And that's a wrap for this edition of the General Tire Jim Beaver Show with Good Times by Kawasaki. Thanks for listening. Be sure and head to Apple Podcasts, subscribe to the show, and follow at Jim Beaver 15, at General Tire, and at Kawasaki USA on social media. Itching for more? JimBeaver15.com has all the latest. We'll see you next time.